Hey, I'm Rob from JestaThaRogue.com. I'm going to show you how to play Let's Go to Japan. This is a game for 1 to 5 players, plays in about 60 minutes, is designed by Josh Wood and is published by Alderac Entertainment Group. Players are planning their trip to Japan, to both Tokyo and Kyoto by placing events, locations and other activities into their itinerary. Once complete, players will go on that trip. Each day will reward a number of points as well as managing your stress and spending on the trip, and the player with the most points at the end of the game is the winner. So why not add more how to play videos into your YouTube viewing itinerary by hitting subscribe. Onto setup. First, each player unfolds their player board, leaving room underneath for 3 to 4 overlapping cards. Put the 5 different experience tokens on 0 on the experience track. Put the mood tracker token matching their player board colour in the hex of the mood tracker, and put the red stress and the green happiness token on the left of the stress and happiness tracks underneath. Take the 6 favourable condition tokens backed with the player colour matching the player board. One player randomly places these on each day Monday to Saturday, and then everyone else copies them so they're in the same order for all players. Each player gets a starting train token, they have start printed on them. Shuffle the Tokyo and Kyoto decks, put them in reach of all players, leave space for a discard pile. Put the round tracker board on the table, put the round tracker marker in the leftmost circle, put the train, wild, research, walk and plus 12 tokens on the table as a supply. The game is played over 13 rounds of 3 phases: draw cards, play and end of round. When drawing cards, players will simultaneously draw cards as shown on the round tracker. In the first 4 rounds, players will draw 1 card from the Tokyo deck and 1 card from the Kyoto deck. I'll explain the other symbols on this track later in the video. Underneath, this will tell you how many cards you will need to play and pass this round. In the first 4 rounds, you will play 1 and pass 1. These are research tokens. I'll explain how you get them later, but at this point in the game, after drawing, you could spend 1 to draw 3 cards from one or both decks. If you do, you discard any 3 cards from your hand. You can spend any number of research tokens on your turn to draw 3 cards and discard any 3 cards from your hand to the discard pile. When you spend a research token, you must draw all 3 cards before you look at any of them. Once everyone has drawn cards, you go to phase 2, play cards. Players play the number of cards shown on the round tracker. Remember, in rounds 1 to 4 this is 1 card, simultaneously to their itinerary. Cards are placed on any day with a maximum of 3 cards per day. Cards can be placed anywhere in the stack, but once placed they can't be moved to a different day or swap position with the other cards on the stack. Instead of playing a card from hand, they can instead be used to go for a walk. When going for a walk, discard the card to the discard pile, take the top card of either deck and play it face down on its go for a walk side, following the usual placement rules. You don't look at the other side of the card yet, you'll discover that when you go for your walk at the end of the game. When going for a walk, you also gain 1 research token. There is a reminder of this on the card. Finally, in phase 2, if you have 3 cards in the same day, you will check for day bonuses. Count the number of experience icons in the top left of each card on that day and see how many match the favourable condition token for that day. For example, on Monday the favourable condition is to visit temples and shrines. They have 2 icons for visiting the Fushimi Inara shrine and 1 for staying at a temple lodging, so they have 3 matching icons. The top left of the player board shows the rewards you could take for matching 1, 2 and 3 or more icons. For 1, you can move the mood token 1 place right, so let's look at that while we're here. A green arrow moves the mood tracker right, a red arrow moves it left. Whenever the mood token gets to the end of a track, reset it back to the middle and move the stress token 1 space if it goes to the red side, or happiness token if it moves to the green side. If the stress or happiness token are at the end of their tracks, you don't move them any further, but the mood token will still move and reset back to the middle of the track after reaching the end as normal. Okay, back to the day bonus. For 2 matching symbols, either take 2 research tokens, which we've talked about already, or 1 wild token. More on wild tokens when we go on our trip. For 3 or more, you could take a luxury train from the supply. These are also used when going on the trip. Or you can go for an extra walk. Simply add a 4th card to that day from any deck as a walk, following the same rules, but you do not gain a research token as shown on the board. You could take any rewards on tiers lower than the one you earned, but you can only take 1 reward per day. After playing the day bonuses, you go to the 3rd phase, the end of round phase. Pass unplayed cards in hand, which should equal the number you pass according to the round board, to the top right of the player board, to the player on your left face down. It's important to note that at this point you should have no cards in hand. Move the round tracker 1 space to start a new round. Now is a good time to explain the rest of the symbols on the round tracker. This symbol starting on round 5 has you pick up the cards in your discard pile. The number there is a reminder of how many cards will be in that stack. As 4 cards will have been passed in rounds 1 to 4, there will be 4 cards in the stack to pick up in round 5. From round 8 onwards, as shown on the round tracker, cards are passed right for the rest of the game instead of left. In round 13, players will draw 1 card from either Tokyo or Kyoto, then pick up the final card from their board. After 13 rounds have been completed, players go on their trip, but first they need to use their trains. Whenever the player goes from Tokyo to Kyoto or vice versa, they need to play a train. This includes at the start of a day when the previous day ended in the other city. For example, on Monday they start in Kyoto and then go to Tokyo, so they need a train here. Monday ends in Tokyo and Tuesday starts in Kyoto, so they need a train at the start of Tuesday. Yellow cards are generic activities and can count as either city regardless of which deck it was drawn from. Trains can be played in any order. The start train does not have to be the one you play first. Luxury trains can be played if you have them, and regular trains worth negative points are gained from the supply to fill all the rest of the train requirements across all 6 days of your trip. Then players score Monday from top to bottom, then Tuesday, etc. until Sunday. Let's look at one day bit by bit, then we'll set up a full day as an example and we'll run through it so you can see how scoring works. First, for each symbol in the top left of a card on that day, move the matching experience token 1 space on the track per icon. For example, for visiting an anime museum, you move the blue unique experiences token 1 space and the yellow shopping experience token 1 space. Use the +12 token and reset the token to 0 if it goes off the end of the track. The red and green arrows on the top left will move the mood tracker left and right. Also, when passing a luxury train on that day, you will gain 2 happiness, so move the mood tracker 2 spaces right. When you pass a walk card, they are turned face up and the player can decide if they want to take the activity on the front of the card or the walk on the back. If taken as an activity, put a walk token on it as a reminder it was a walk, as it will still count as a walk for scoring purposes. You also score the number of points shown in the top right of the card. The final card of the day is the highlight of the day. This card gives you a goal to achieve on the left to gain the bonus on the right. Experience markers. If they are equal to or higher than the required criteria, score the points. For example, the Arashiyama Bamboo Grove needs you to have moved your unique experience marker at least 2 spaces. If you have so far on your trip, you gain 3 points plus 1 point per space the nature token has moved. This is why all of these tokens are moved at the end of the game and should only reflect your trip up until the current card you are looking at. Brackets. Score per completed set of the shown items. For example, you see some cherry blossoms. If you have 2 expense stress symbols on your trip so far, you gain 2 points for each time your unique experiences and nature symbols have moved. As they have both moved 2 spaces, that's 4 points. When scoring the mood track symbols like this, remember this includes all the relevant symbols on this and previous days, including the symbols on any luxury trains used so far. Note that the 2 red stress and 2 green happiness symbols move the mood track in the same way, will count as different symbols for the purposes of scoring. Walk. Must have that many walk icons on this and previous days. This includes both the face down walk cards and the face up activity with a walk token on them. Train. Any train on this and previous days. For example, at the Kyoto Railway Museum, you will gain 9 points if you've used 3 trains up until now on this trip. X. Do not have any of these icons on this and previous days. For example, for Kyoto Tower, you need to not have any temple and shrine symbols so far on your trip. You can have them in your itinerary after this card has been resolved, but not before. Cities. Only count for days up to and including the present day, and the day must have all cards in it from the named city to score. For this, yellow cards still represent being in either city, but walk cards count as their respective city. Wild. Gain the number of wild tokens shown when scored. Wild tokens can be spent at any time during this phase to increase 1 experience token 1 space. Okay, let's run through one full day as an example to see how this all works. So first we start on Monday at the Nezu Shrine. We move the temples and shrines marker twice, and then we move the mood marker once left for the stress of this activity. Next we're moving from Tokyo to Kyoto via a luxury train, so we move the mood marker 1 space right as we've had a nice rest. Then the Tenryuji temple moves up 1 space on the temples and shrines track and once on the nature track. Finally, the philosopher's path moves us up once on the nature track and once left on the mood track again. Now we look at the highlight of the day, which requires 4 movement on the temples and shrines track, but currently we only have 3. So I will spend a wildcard token again during the game and use it to move the tracker up once. Now it is on 4, the task is complete. I gain 8 points from the highlight of the day, 7 points from others scoring on the card, plus I gain another wild token. All 6 days are scored in the same way from Monday through to Saturday. Score combined points for stress and happiness trackers as shown on the board. Score for each of the 5 experience trackers for the scoring space they passed. Score for points with trains on the board. Regular trains scored -2 points and luxury trains +2 points. This only counts for trains used to travel, so if you have luxury trains in your supply but you didn't get to put them on your board, they don't count. Finally, unused research tokens are worth 1 point each as shown on the back of the token. Most points wins with shared winners. Or you can see whose experience tokens move the most collectively if you want a clear winner. And that's how you play Let's Go to Japan. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when a new video goes live. You can follow me on Insta, Twitch and YouTube at JestaThaRogue or find the blog at JestaThaRogue.com. I've been Rob aka JestaThaRogue and I'll see you soon.